Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a crazy couple weeks at the Madara household. We welcomed our new baby Teagan into the family and we are so over the moon. She has been such a great baby, but it has been a huge change for us. And today I was just going to tell you the birth story because I watched a bunch of these birth story videos and I found them very helpful for just encouragement and staying positive when you're about to give birth. It is the most beautiful thing that you can go through, but it's also very scary and unpredictable. And for both mom and dad, it can be very stressful. Today, I just kind of wanted to talk through my birth story with Teagan so you guys can have a little piece of that. I did not videotape any of my birth just because that's something very special between Andrew and I obviously, once you hear the story, you'll know that, trying to video any of it would have just been not fun. So I went into the hospital at 39 weeks. I decided to be induced. Teagan is big for a girl. She was measuring about 9 pounds when I went in for my 38-week sonogram. They were just going to measure her because I have a history of having large babies. Colton was measuring 10 pounds at his gross sonogram. So with that, there can be complications if you want to have a vaginal birth. For Colton, everything went smoothly. He came out super quick and it was such a great experience. So I wanted to just make sure that we weren't going to have any major hiccups with her. So I went in at 38 weeks. They measured her. She was measuring like 9 pounds and they said it's kind of up to you if you want to get induced, if you want to go ahead and just let your body do whatever it wants to do. And then I had the midwife check my cervix just because I have had so much pressure down there. I was like, I have to be dilated some. So she checked and I was at 3 centimeters and that was a Wednesday. And she suggested that if I wanted to be induced, to do it on Friday. So that's what we decided to do. I had figured that by Friday, I would at least be a couple more centimeters dilated, at least 1 more centimeter. Honestly, for us, being induced just makes a little bit more sense. We were able to schedule, a sleepover for Colton. Everyone was kind of aware of what was going on. Instead of me having my water break at 3 o'clock in the morning or calling my in-laws to try and come get Colton, that to me just sounded a little bit more stressful than having everything planned out. Obviously to each their own, but that's just what we decided to do. So Friday morning, we went in at 6 o'clock in the morning. If you've ever had a baby or you've been induced, for the first couple hours, it's just questions. Really nothing's happening. They give you an IV, they take some blood work, but you're just kind of laying in bed doing nothing. And then at 7 o'clock, the midwife came in, maybe a little bit after 7 o'clock. She came in, she checked my cervix. I was 4 centimeters dilated at that point. She decided to break my water right then. They started the Pitocin a little bit after that. I would say 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then my contractions, they went from 0 to 1,000 really quick. I remember with Colton, my contractions were pretty steady and they came on quick, but this was next level. I remember each contraction was just oh my God. It was so fast. So I remember breathing through them. Everything was okay. I was in a lot of pain, but I was trying to just manage through that. Andrew was there holding my hand. He was such a great support system. He's like, you got this, you got this. It was good. But one contraction came and I remember just saying holy cow, she's coming out. I can feel her coming out. And so the nurse was there and I told the nurse, I'm afraid that I'm not gonna be able to get the epidural because I can literally feel her coming out. And the nurse was like, you have to hold her in. We still have to get you the rest, a bag of fluid before you can even get the epidural. So we were looking at like an hour before I could get the epidural, and I started to panic. I was not prepared mentally to push out a large baby without any medication. We were like doing everything we could to get the fluids in me. She was like putting this like squeezing thing on the bag. She was doing everything she could. She was able to get the epidural to come up quick. I got the epidural and then I felt great. Like, I don't know why you would not do an epidural. It blows my mind that women can do it without an epidural. Like, I just cannot imagine trying to do that. Like, mentally for me, having that epidural allowed me to kind of be more in the moment and relax my body so I could like enjoy what was happening. Because before I had that epidural, I was just like in a panic. Like, I couldn't even think clearly. My body was just like, I swear it was like almost in shock, because I was just like, this is too much too fast. So got the epidural. It was great. I probably got the epidural around 10. Once they gave me the epidural, they came in, they checked my cervix again. I was at like 8 centimeters, and they had predicted that I would be pushing out a baby within the next hour. Just like in place, she was ready to go. Like I said, I could literally feel her like in the birth canal moving down, which was kind of cool. We're letting the epidural set in. They're moving me like side to side to make sure the epidural is doing what it needs to do. And then my midwife came in at like 11 o'clock. Yeah, she came in probably at 11 o'clock. She felt me. The baby's head was there. So 10 centimeters, the baby's head was already like basically coming out. She put on her gloves. She told Andrew, she's like, do you want some gloves? Because you're going to deliver this baby. And he was like, no, like just kind of laughed it off, you know. Compared to Colton, I'm just going to kind of give you a little comparison here. When I had Colton, there was probably 16 people in the room. I remember the lights being bright. I remember they were like holding my legs up. It was a little bit more intense. And not that I cared, there were 16 people in there. At that point, you're just like, get this baby out of me, I don't care. But this time it was a pediatric nurse, my midwife, my nurse, and my husband. And the midwife walked in and she's like, all right, we're gonna push this baby out. Super calm. And I'm like, okay, let's go. I didn't put my legs in stirrups. I was basically just like laying on my back with my feet like half-ass on the table, like just laying there. It's like, all right, go ahead and give me a push. I pushed and I could literally feel Teagan move through the birth canal. Like, I could feel all of that. Didn't hurt. I just felt the movement. And then she's like, all right, Dad, come on over. And Andrew delivered the baby. And it was the most beautiful thing ever. It took 8 minutes for me to deliver Teagan, which is amazing. I know so many people who have pushed and pushed and pushed for 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. I literally pushed for 8 minutes and she was out, she was on my chest, and she wanted to latch right away. And that's something I think is so sweet, because with Colton, that was like my biggest dream, is that he would come out, he'd latch, and it would be like this beautiful moment, and that did not happen. But with her, it did, and it was so like calm in the room. The lights were dim. I felt at peace. It was just something so like easy about it. Then the nurses, you know, they delayed the cord cutting. So we just kind of like laid there. Andrew and I just kind of spent some time with her. They didn't rush us out. They didn't do anything. They were just like, go ahead and lay here, you know, take your time. They turned off the epidural, so my legs started to like come back. I could start to feel some things. And then probably an hour later, we were starting to like get things cleaned up. And then they took me to the bathroom. I did that stuff. And then we got moved to our room. One thing with having babies that are a little bit bigger is that their blood sugar level needs to be monitored very closely, because it can drop really fast because they're not getting the food that they need to get. I suggested to the nurses that they check her blood sugar level, because We went through this whole thing with Colton. He ended up in the NICU, and I did not want that to happen. I would rather give her formula than keep saying, let's breastfeed, and she's not getting enough. They started checking her blood sugar level. The first check was low. So I was like, go ahead, give her some formula. Let's make sure that this doesn't happen. And then they checked her every hour for the first like 24 hours, and everything was great after that first one. So that was awesome. She did great with her hearing test. She's a very like chill, easy baby. She has been so great. But I just want to say that if you are getting ready to give birth and you're looking for some encouragement, like, it is a beautiful thing, and let your body just do what it does naturally. I have heard so many horror stories of people like pushing before they're even 10 centimeters dilated. Doctors, I've heard of like doctors kind of trying to like push their patients to like rush a delivery. And I feel so bad for moms who go through that, because it's supposed to be a process that your body knows what it needs to do, and you just kind of have to trust that. I know there's circumstances where, of course, you'd have a C-section or something like that, but I just want to encourage you to like stay calm. Something about going into birth for me is like, I'm typically a very like high-strung, I wouldn't say high-strung, I'm typically like a very anxious person, but when I have given birth both times, like something took over in my body and I just kind of go inward. I just like work through everything like, you know, inside. I'm not like screaming or yelling or, you know, causing a scene. But I think you just have to remind yourself that your body knows what to do, and you have to trust yourself that you know what to do when the time comes to push. Because I can't even imagine pushing for hours. Like, it's so hard. For 8 minutes, it's hard. And I can't imagine doing that for hours. I would be out of breath. Like, I would be dying. So that is Teagan's birth story. We are about a week postpartum. I have told you guys before that I am so passionate about postpartum care. I started anxiety medicine before I even gave birth, and then after they bumped it up to 50 milligrams of Zoloft, and it has been doing wonders. This newborn phase has been completely different than the one I had with Colton. I'm actually able to like relax and kind of enjoy her a little bit more. But the transition from having one child to two has been a bit of a struggle. Our 3-year-old Colton has just been really clingy, and he's like, is mommy, daddy, do it with me, everything. Usually he's a very independent kid, but since bringing her home, he's like fighting for attention. And that has been kind of hard, honestly, to navigate that, because we're already sleep deprived, and then to, you know, have him wanting every bit of our attention when we don't have, you know, when we're not taking care of Teagan has just been a lot. But I know this is just a phase, and we will definitely get through it. But I want to encourage you, if you're giving birth, that you're going to do great. I know it's scary and it's the unknown, but I promise you, you will do fantastic. Just stay calm and rely on your partner for everything. I was like to Andrew, I'm like, I need water, I need this, I need that. And he was like, let's do it. He was just so great. Even after you have the baby, there's so many different levels of pain that you could be in, just from like, obviously like your uterus contracting and all that stuff. And this time was much better than with Colton. I couldn't even walk after I had Colton, and with her, I was like up walking around. It felt great. So just be assured that even if it is hard and you're feeling not great, it's a phase. Give yourself some grace. I always tell my friends who ask, give yourself about a week after you have a baby to just kind of, when you get home, just lay around. Like, don't try and push yourself to do anything. Just be a mom, and it'll allow your brain to just kind of focus on that one thing instead of cleaning and, you know, making dinners, all that stuff. Have your partner do that. Andrew has been making all the meals. I have just been breastfeeding and kind of taking care of her and playing with Colton when she's napping, and just really being a mom for these last like 7 days. Last time with Colton, I was trying to make dinner. I was trying to do all the things, and it was just too much. One other thing that I will say that has helped me tremendously this time around is I take at least like 30 minutes or an hour out of the day. It's not all at one time, but I at least take some time to like paint my nails or straighten my hair or take a shower or go out to the garden. Like some time where I don't have a kid by me. That has been very helpful because for me mentally, if I am like in the space with the kids, I feel like I have to be hands-on with them, like holding the baby or playing with Colton. Like I don't feel like I'm doing my best if I'm just like sitting on the couch, not, interacting. So for me to actually remove myself from the space where the kids are has been really good for my mental health. But I hope this is encouraging. If you guys have any questions or, you had a birth story that was helpful in any way, please leave it in the comments. I think people often hear the horror stories and not, the good things and how great it can be. I hope you guys have an awesome week and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.